Let's welcome to the show American Majority CEO Ned Ryun. Ned, so he's losing anywhere. It's good to see you, Ned. He's losing anywhere from 1/3 to 40% of his viewership. We're still doing the math, including the lucrative Washington, D.C. market. Your reaction to this, because, you know, the Democrats, the liberal media is not grasping what is at play here. What's going on?
Well, first of all, Democrats that are whining that, taking Kimmel off the air with some free speech violation didn't say a word, didn't lift a finger when Google and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter were censoring conservatives not too long ago. So strikes me as pretty rich, the hypocrisy on display. But this is a business decision, Liz. Nexstar, which has about, between its stations and partners, has about 220 million viewers. Sinclair has about 40% of U.S. households, has made a business decision. Viewers don't get to decide. Politicians don't get to decide. Station owners get to decide what shows are on based off what ad revenue is being generated. And it's a business decision. And they made the decision that Jimmy Kimmel is not good for ad revenue. It's not good for their money. Yeah. And if he was good, I got to be honest, Liz, if Jimmy Kimmel was good for business, guess what? He'd be on the air, but he's not. He's lost about half his viewers this year already. Even more so, he's lost 72% of the 25 to 54 demographic over the last decade, plummeting. And no late night show has made a profit since 2022. So losses are just increasing. I'm kind of staggered that he was still on the air.
You know, Sinclair is still saying Kimmel must first apologize to the Charlie Kirk family on air and make a, quote, meaningful donation to them and to Turning Point USA. We don't know if he's going to do that. It's also demanding ABC gives assurances future content meets the norms of professionalism, sensitivity, and accountability. Both Sinclair, Nexstar, and ABC, they're private companies. Nexstar is saying what he's saying is insensitive. You know, they're entitled to hire or fire whomever they want. I mean, the First Amendment doesn't cover workers on the job. Networks do this all the time. How is his lie? Let me ask you, how is his lie and his bad joke, how is that in the public interest?
It's not. I mean, let's face it, Jimmy Kimmel stopped being funny years ago, if he was ever funny. And he was also just an agent for spreading disinformation. And quite frankly, I think he was just a corporate propagandist. He was not funny at all. And I still am confused as to why he was on the air when this stopped turning a profit 3 years ago. But this is not personal. It's not even political, even despite some of those statements. It's just a business decision. So Democrats need to understand that a private company in a free market dynamic has made a decision based off ad revenue that they just are going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel with other shows. And it's their prerogative, and I applaud them for making a business decision, which I think is in their best interest.
Okay, so GOP Senators Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Senator Gary Peters, they all said FCC Chair Brendan Carr overstepped by pressuring ABC. Again, this does look like a business decision by the Nexstar and Sinclair. Yep. But let's please watch this odd hot take that this is somehow Jimmy Kimmel standing on principles. Watch this.
Nonetheless, you know, he probably could have spoken more clearly about what he was trying to get across there. But he also wasn't willing to say what he didn't believe, and he stuck by his principles, and good for him.
He stuck by his principles, doubling down on a lie that a Trump supporter killed Charlie Kirk? Again, how is that a joke? How is that a public interest issue?
It's not.
How is that standing on his principles?
It's not. I mean, this is one of the reasons that a lot of these stations are struggling with viewership. It's just because it's not funny, it's not the truth, and at some point people are going to stop watching. I mean, I go back to that demographic, which is a key ad revenue demographic of 25 to 54. He lost 72% of them over the last decade. I mean, this to me is, if you're not funny, if you're not meaningful, you shouldn't be on the air. And that's the decision Nexstar and Sinclair are making. And it's, again, their decision, not viewers, not politicians.
Ned Ryun, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's great to see you again.